Hello students, now for this class, based on your exams, we had many topics that included the present perfect. And something important on the present perfect that I have told you many times are the verbs. So, today we're going to make a review about the verbs in past participle. Why a review? Because from the exams on units number 1, 2 and 3, I have recognized that you had many mistakes. So that is the reason today we're going to make a review or reinforcement activity about verbs in past participle. Now we're going to identify the purpose of these kinds of verbs. Now, the purpose of the past participle is to indicate Now, of course, we used to indicate an action in past. So we used to indicate an action in past. That's obvious. But what is the difference between simple past and past participle? Well, the difference is that in simple past, when the action is completed, the action dies in the past. But when the past participle, we use the past participle, indicates the past, and also the action is going to be completed So, the action is going to be completed in the action of time. What is that supposed to mean? For example, it's an action that means that begins in the past, but maybe continues in the present. Or maybe the action is not over. And just like I said, in simple past, when the action starts in the past, it stays in the past. Now, there are two kinds of verbs in past participle. The irregular and the regular verbs. And now we're going to identify the characteristics. Now, the irregular verbs. At the beginning of the year, I gave you a list of irregular verbs. There are like more than 1,000 verbs between regular and irregular. So, on your student book and the English in Mind, and the final part of your book, there is a small list of irregular verbs. There is the base form, the simple past form, and also the past participle form. So please, this is important. So I want you to study this in your house. So you study this, and you're going to be prepared. Because these verbs we are going to use in this year and the following years. Now, the irregular verbs, they have irregular tenses. For example, this is a common verb, learn. SP stands for simple past, and this one for past participle. Here we have base form, simple past, past participle. Learn, learned, learned. Okay? Now we are going to analyze the difference between irregular and regular verbs. And in the final part of this tutorial, we are going to identify the sentences, and also we're going to set examples applying these verbs. Now, here we have the regular verbs. So, The difference between regular verbs and irregular verbs is that all the regular verbs, they end in these two letters. ed. For example, we have a common verb like this, play. Okay? The past participle of play, which is a regular verb, is play. It ends in ed. Do you remember the chart I gave you about the irregular verbs? For example, the simple past, past participle, and the base form? Let's repeat it. Base form, simple past, past participle. Let's try with another verb, right? Stay is also another regular verb. Simple past, stay. Past participle, stay as well. Now, here comes something important. Many students, and also English teachers, we have made the mistake that we can identify the difference in regular verbs. How do we recognize the differences between regular verbs? Because of the sound and also the pronunciation. I'm going to give you 3 different verbs, and you're going to see, well, they are all regulars, but they have something different. Now, here we have 3 regular verbs. They are all regular, but they are different. How come? So, here we have wanted, washed, and played. Do you recognize the difference? Let me repeat. Wanted, washed, played. So, can you hear me that I am overreacting with the pronunciation? It's because the difference between these 3 is the pronunciation and the sound. In the regular verbs, there are 3 different sounds. The sound of the ed, the sound of the T, and finally, the sound of the D. So, all the regular verbs that end with T, they go with the ID. The pronunciation and the sound is with ID. Wanted, completed. All the verbs that end with SH and GH and also P, X, CH and K, they have a special pronunciation. I never said wash it. That is incorrect. That is a terrible pronunciation. Wash it. You have to make the sound like the T. Washed. Can you listen to the sound? Washed. Imagine next one. I watched TV. I never said I watch it. No, I watch. For example, I liked my new TV. I never said I like it. I liked. And the final one is the pronunciation with the letter D. Here we have with the all other sounds. For example, I played soccer. I never said I played soccer. I stayed at home. Not I stayed at home. Now, let's remember, regular verbs, they have a special pronunciation, a special sound with the ED, the T, and the letter D.